Status in Gloucester is hard to come by. The once thriving fishing community has seen jobs drift overseas. Economic depression has left many teens trying to fill the void.
It sort of gives you the impression of being an adult and independent. It may give you an opportunity for unconditional love and attention from the baby, and also that you give to the baby.
In Gloucester, Massachusetts, 17 high school girls ages 16 and younger created a pact to get pregnant together. One teen even went as far as getting pregnant with a 24-year-old homeless man. High fives were given as the girls gradually became pregnant. Angry and shocked parents blame society and the media for their children's actions.
Gloucester High, mother of 3-year-old Haley, she says she's tried to warn her peers about the tough road ahead.
Reports began to state that teen pregnancy was on the rise. Oscar-winning movie Juno, along with shows like The Secret Life of an American Teenager, Degrassi, and One Tree Hill were soon accused of glamorizing teen pregnancy to the youth. Jamie Lynn Spears, a 16-year-old actress, only added fuel to the fire when she was on the cover of OK magazine with her newly born baby in arms, along with a statement saying, "Being a mom is great." To many, this is a reflection of how teens perceive sex and pregnancy. With the proliferation of teen pregnancy in the media and pop culture, questions have been raised about the changing perception of teen pregnancy. To figure out how our perception has changed, we visited various experts on the subject around San Diego. We first started our interviews asking what they thought about teen pregnancies.
It's a difficult thing for a teenager to face being pregnant, but nowadays not as difficult as it used to be. And often the girls don't believe that they have any help, but there is a lot of help out there for them.
It's a disruption in a person's life. It's usually not planned, not hoped for, but it is definitely not the end of the world, and it's not a punishment. But most people they've thought so little about it that they see it as the end of the world.
We'd love for girls not to get pregnant when they're teenagers, because it just opens a whole new a bunch of stuff they have to look at that is difficult. Our culture has changed to a more openly sexual culture, and I think that the media reflects that, and so it accepts it, embraces it more. We see that more in TV shows, and even as far as even billboards and things like that. So I think our whole culture has changed to a more openly sexual culture.
If you watch 99% of full-length feature films that deal with young people anywhere from maybe 17 to 35, no matter what the movie is about, there is just the normal occurrence of premarital sex within it. The media is planting in the minds of just about anyone that premarital sex is normal, natural, cannot be avoided, and you're almost crazy if you think you can wait until you're married.
The media has to talk about teenage pregnancy just because that's what's going on, and it would be naive, and probably kids wouldn't be that interested if it didn't hit home what they were watching on TV and that sort of thing. What I disagree with is putting Jamie Lynn Spears on the cover with smiling with her baby, and she's 17, and talking about how wonderful it is. I think that they should portray it more in a real sense and speak to the hardships of it, and how she could have done things differently.
There are a lot of good reasons for the media to educate on teenage pregnancy. I think it would be great if we could somehow target that education to the parents. I think that the parents have a huge influence on their kids and on their teenagers.
When I was growing up, when there was a pregnancy, the family had to hide that pregnancy. And young girls would often go visit relatives in other states for 4 or 5 months. And that visit was really going to a pregnancy center or a maternity home in another state so they could have the baby quietly and then return.
A young girl that's pregnant, people might look at her and say, oh, she shouldn't be pregnant, but I think in general it's much more acceptable.
Even though there's high acceptance, there's still great disappointment on the part of family members, especially parents, grandparents.
We've seen young girls that got pregnant and at 12 years old even, and that girl actually really wanted to keep her baby, and that then I had a 16-year-old just recently that was completely against carrying her baby.
And very often the young woman will say, and young women who are dealing with past abortions will say it felt like they didn't have a choice. There was just an assumption in everyone around them that a pregnancy had to be gotten rid of. But what's so, the disconnect is that the culture is accepting. So the culture turned into an open, accepting setting for teen pregnancy, and even within that open and accepting setting, we now destroy many, many more unborn than ever happened in the 50s, 60s, 70s.
I put off having sex in high school when I was a teenager because in my family, we were raised in the church, and it was just talked about that, you know, if that did happen, that you would need to place your child for adoption, and that was just something I couldn't fathom doing, so I put it off. So the girls that do place, I just have the utmost respect for, because it's the most selfless thing that a girl could do. And so these teenage girls that we work with, we have some girls 14, 15 years old that are placing, and at that point in their lives, to be thinking of someone else outside themselves is just amazing.
60% of pregnant teens drop out of high school. 3 out of 10 girls become pregnant before the age of 20.
Teens are more likely to smoke during pregnancy than women over the age of 25.
84% of teen pregnancies are unplanned.
Between 22 and 30% of teen mothers under the age of 18 have a second baby within 2 years after the birth of their first baby.